Hello dear students and all the listeners. My name is Hardika Raval and I'll be teaching you the internet basics. This chapter of grade 10 covers a lot about the internet basics. Each and every detail is covered very thoroughly. So we'll be taking up this chapter in certain parts for better understanding. In the first part, we'll be studying about internet and its components, the computer system, and the devices used to make a computer connected to the internet. We'll also learn about the internet access and application softwares, more about World Wide Web and the URL. We'll also learn about the website, web pages, and the web browsers all together in the first part. Let's start the topic. Our first topic is the internet. Nowadays, internet has become the necessity for us all. You all must have heard about it and most of you must be using it. Internet is so much a part and parcel of our lives today that we cannot think of a life without it. Be it chatting online with friends and relatives or browsing through it for information or buying clothes online. This is the internet that we have started using extensively. But what is internet? It is a network of networks, or rather, a collection of interconnected networks publicly accessible from around the world. This is a modern marvel of computer networking. Internet provides a lot of services like the World Wide Web, email, online chat, search engine, and much more. Let us learn more about the internet and its components. The internet is a worldwide collection of publicly accessible interconnected computers networks. It is actually a network of networks. It may consist of millions of smaller domestic or academic, business and government networks. Each of these smaller networks might connect hundreds or thousands of computers altogether. Information and services such as electronic mails, online chats, file transfer, and most importantly the resource of World Wide Web are facilities provided by the internet. These computers are on dissimilar networks, but they communicate on the internet using a common language or set of rules, which is known as the protocol. The internet follows the standard internet protocol, that is IP, to transmit and receive data. In the initial days of computer, there was no concept of networking at all. The computers were individual systems only. Then came the concept of networking and a few computers were connected to each other. The initial development of the internet was started in 1969 by the US Department of Defense, called Advanced Research Project Agency or ARPA. This agency created a reliable computer network for its military use called the ARPANET, which laid the foundation for today's internet. The computers were networked using the cable lines, and then slowly telephone lines were used for the purpose. The first international packet switch network was created by the British Post Office, Western Union International, and the United States TimeNet in 1978. Within a short span of 3 years, this network became so popular and grew at such a great speed that by 1981, countries like US, Canada, Europe, Hong Kong, and Australia became a part of it. The rules for communication also changed to the popular TCP/IP. TCP/IP is a protocol, that means it is a set of rules on how to use the internet and how to transmit the data over the internet. Due to the extensive public use, the US military portion of the ARPANET was separated from the main network as the MILNET in 1983. The National Science Foundation created a separate network as NSF-NET, mainly for engineering and research, and became popular by 1986. Slowly, universities and other smaller networks joined in. By the early 1990s, the networking of ARPANET, NSF-NET, and the smaller private networks saw the birth of the internet. The great growth had started. In 1991, HTML and HTTP were developed by Tim Berners-Lee. Web browsers like Netscape in 1993 made internet popular. The launch of personal computers witnessed such a tremendous leap in the internet users that there has been no looking back since then. In the current scenario, you would have used computers at your home, internet cafes, or at our school's lab. But our school and the internet cafe have their own network connected to the internet. So you would just go there and start working. Those of you who have a dial-up connection at home will realize that you have to get connected through the internet service provider like BSNL or MTNL. First of all, you have to look out for an ISP, that means an internet service provider, on your own and get all the internet connection. The basic requirements for establishing an internet connection are explained in a very simple and precise manner here. Many more devices can be added for extra capabilities. Once you have the basic requirements, you will be able to surf the internet and use the email. The basic requirements are: a computer with a good CPU speed is the prime requirement to access the internet. This can be a normal desktop or a laptop. This computer will act as the client or the workstation. Today's websites are a mix of text, sound and images, so the content of the websites might be heavy. Hence, more the speed of the CPU, better will be the performance of the internet access. The computer should have at least 1 GB of RAM. The higher the size of RAM, the better is the speed of your computer. The computer should have at least 1 GB of free hard disk space. But this must not be a problem because most of today's computers come with at least 500 GB hard disk space. Besides the above, a sound system with a microphone, speakers, and device like a printer or scanner are desirable but not compulsory. Now let's learn about the modem. A modem is a device that converts the analog signals to digital signals and the digital signals to analog signals. It helps the computer to communicate with each other. It connects the computer system to the internet using telephone or cable lines. The term modem stands for modulator demodulator. Modulation is the process of converting digital signals from a computer to analog signals like in telephone. Demodulation is the reverse process. That means it is the process of converting analog signals to digital signals. Modems provide the primary link between the ISP and your computer. Modems of different speed are available in the market. Cable modems and ADSL modems are used where faster access is required. The speed of a modem is measured in kilobits per second or kbps or megabits per second, that is mbps. Now there are two types of modems. One is internal and other is external modem. The internal modem remains inside the computer and is in the form of a card. Most computers these days have come with such built-in modems, but internal modems are cheaper and slower than the external modems. Since it is the part of the circuit board, it remains fixed and it is not portable. The external modem is a small box-shaped device that is connected to the computer from outside. It is a peripheral and is connected to the computer using some wires. External modems are slightly more expensive than the internal ones, but are definitely faster. Like any other device, it is portable and can be connected to different computers. As you can see on the screen, the black box-like device is the external modem, while the chip-like device is the internal modem, which is fixed inside the CPU. As you may already know, there are a lot of wires that are used to connect a computer to other devices. To connect a device to the internet also, we use some kind of wires which are known as the telephone or the cable lines. The main communication medium between the client and the server machine is the telephone line. The normal telephone or cable connection can be used to connect to the internet, but today the high-speed broadband lines or ISDN lines are very popular. Wi-Fi, satellite and 3G technology on cell phones are gaining popularity with urban users. As you can see on the screen, there is a picture of a telephone line and the cable line, which are used for connecting our devices to the internet. Now let us learn more about the Internet Service Provider. An Internet Service Provider or the ISP is a company or a business that provides access to the internet and related services. The Internet Service Providers provide the internet connection to you. They are generally companies or organizations that employ powerful computers called servers for the internet connection. Now the servers are special computers connected to the internet through satellite or other communication channels. The companies that have such servers can provide the internet connection to different users. They also provide the required software, username and passwords. Generally, you have to pay a monthly or yearly charge for the internet service provided by the ISPs. The major ISP in India are the Airtel Broadband, the BSNL or Reliance and MTNL. Some other popular ISPs are VSNL, Tata Indicom and SIFI also. To set up and control the connection of your computer to the internet access software are necessary. They have two main components, the dialer software and the TCP/IP network software. The dialer software directs the modem to dial a telephone number or a connection number and to get your computer identified at the ISP's computer. For this, you will be given a username and a password by the ISP for authentication. Authentication means that the ISP will check whether you are a valid user registered with them or not. This means that every time you want to connect to the internet, you will have to dial the ISP and provide the username and password. Only then, after the verification of your credentials, the network access will be granted. Now coming to TCP/IP software, the internet uses the Internet Protocol Suite. The TCP/IP network software allows programs on your computer to communicate over the internet after the connection has been established. The internet access software may be different for different ISPs. Microsoft Windows has a built-in internet access software for both dial-up networking and broadband services. Now let us learn about the internet application software, that means a browser. Browsers are special software that allow you to access and surf through different websites and web pages on the internet. These are also known as the internet browsing software or web browser or simply any browser. They facilitate you to access and interact with all the information on the World Wide Web. There are many web browsers available according to the operating system and the type of the content to be browsed. Some popular web browsers are Microsoft Internet Explorer, Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox and Apple Safari. Coming over to the World Wide Web. As we have already seen that the World Wide Web is a massive collection of interlinked documents, images and other resources. In 1991, the CERN publicly launched the new World Wide Web project, though the web was actually invented by an English scientist, Tim Berners-Lee, in 1989. The pages are interlinked to other such pages using hyperlinks and URLs, creating a great web of information. This is why Tim Berners-Lee decided to call it the World Wide Web. Let us discuss some features of the WWW. The first thing is that the World Wide Web provides the user with the facilities to make the search for information easy and the retrieval is very quick. Second thing is the WWW was built on the concept of hypertext. That means the HTML pages are linked to other such pages using special text called the hyperlinks and URLs. Hyperlinks appear in a separate color to differentiate itself from the text, and when clicked it will redirect us to some other page which contains the information. World Wide Web uses the HTTP, that means the Hypertext Transfer Protocol. This means that each time the client will request your page and the web server responds by sending the resource, the connection to that site is cut off, thus increasing the efficiency. Web browser is the ultimate tool to access the web. Using this you can search, retrieve, download and surf through any amount of information from the number of sites. We all use the term that we'll search it on Google or Googling. That means we are going to use the web browser Google Chrome to look for information on the internet. The WWW helps people to communicate with each other and share information and resources with anyone in the world. The best thing about World Wide Web is that it can run on any kind of operating system. You just need to have a compatible browser. Many times people use the term Internet and World Wide Web interchangeably. Actually, Internet and the World Wide Web are two separate but related terms. Let us understand the difference between these two terms. The Internet refers to the global network of computers that are located in the different countries of the world, whereas the World Wide Web refers to the collection of various web pages connected through hyperlinks and URLs. The Internet is abbreviated as Net, while the World Wide Web is abbreviated as WWW or the Web. The Internet uses many languages and protocols to transmit the data over the computer network. The World Wide Web uses only one protocol, that is HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol, to transmit the data. The Internet provides many services like email, file transfer, instant messages, newsgroup, etc. WWW uses web browsers like Internet Explorer, Mozilla Firefox, etc. to access web pages that have the graphics, sound, etc. and are connected to the hyperlinks. Please remember that WWW is a part of the Internet which is used most of the time to look for information across the Internet. Now let us see some web terminologies. The first one is the web server. A web server is a powerful computer where the HTML pages and the other resources are stored. It is always active and connected to the internet. It runs software designed to send out the HTML pages and other file formats. It is based on the client-server model. That means if the client wants some information over the internet, he will send a request for that particular information, which the server will respond with a web page or a website. Here the web browser in our computer is a client that requests the HTML files from the web server. The web server processes the request and sends the response back to the client computer. A server computer is usually much faster than the commonly used computers. The server manages and processes the request of multiple clients or computers at a time. Now the web client is the user side of the web. It typically refers to the web browser in the user's machine. It may also refer to plugins and helper applications that enhance the browser to support special services from the website. The term may refer to the entire user machine, refer to a handheld device that provides web access like mobile phones or laptops. The client-side components are usually computer applications running on a user's computer and are connected to a server. These components perform client-side operation such as accessing information available on the client side like user input or validation input data, etc. A browser plugin is a software that adds extra functionality to a web browser. It is usually from a third party rather than the browser developer. They are also called add-ons or extension. Plugin can allow a web browser to display additional content it was not originally designed to display. Such browser plugins are used to add toolbars and support a variety of graphics, animation, audio and video formats. For example, the Adobe Flash Player plugin lets user view video on the web in the Flash video format. Others are QuickTime Player and Microsoft Silverlight. A helper application is an application that adds additional capabilities when necessary. For a web browser, it is a standalone external program that is launched when the browser determines its functions are required. Helper applications can run by themselves, whereas browser plugins cannot. For example, Adobe Reader. The term browser plugin and helper applications are used interchangeably. Nevertheless, the plugin is designed to be integrated into the browser and cannot run by itself. A helper application is a separate program launched by the browser whenever needed. Website is a collection of related web pages. Each website has a unique address called URL, that means the Uniform Resource Locator. Websites are housed on web servers, internet host computers that often store thousands of individual web pages. The process of storing websites on a web server is called hosting. These can be accessed via the internet. The basic components of a website are listed below. Let us see them one by one. First one is the web server. A website must be published on at least one of the web servers, which will further transmit the required files to all the users whenever required. The URL Uniform Resource Locator refers to the address of a website. Each website has a unique address that is used to open it. The home page. The very first page that appears when a website is opened is called the home page. It must be designed very carefully given its importance in the website. Being user-friendly, that means a good website must be made up of both static and dynamic pages supported by appropriate graphics, text and images. Online database provides the facility to store the information collected from users through dynamic web pages. Moreover, a popular website may have authentication check, shopping cart, chat room, blogs or contact forms. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. It is a special language used to create web pages or documents on the World Wide Web. It is used to describe the structure of the text-based information in a document and set a definite design, layout and the final look of the web page. HTML does all this through its elements called tags and their attributes. It consists of highlighted text called hyperlinks, and HTML pages can display text, images, sounds and interact with other web pages using the hyperlinks. Hyperlinks are highlighted text in the documents. They are links which when clicked open up to another location showing information in the same page or moves you to a totally new web page. Hypertext is a file including text, graphics, audio, video and hyperlinks to the related files. Hypertext Transfer Protocol is a method used to access the web pages on the internet. It is a set of rules to access the web pages with text, images and sound and interact over the internet. HTTP generally works in combination with World Wide Web. Hypertext documents on the World Wide Web are accessed using this method. In simple words, you can say that the web pages are accessed on the internet via HTTP. The web browser is called the HTTP client as it requests the web pages. You must have already visited many websites till now. Every website may contain certain text, a paragraph, images, some also contain audio-visual content. Now let us find the difference between certain web pages. There are two main types of web pages. One is the static and another is the dynamic web page. The static web page refers to the page that cannot be changed by the user. These are read-only pages and show the same information every time until the programmer changes its source code. These pages are the simplest and the most efficient way of delivering any content. Whereas the dynamic pages refer to the interactive pages that can produce different contents for different users according to their requirement. For example, checking online result, etc. These type of web pages accept the user inputs too, and they are best suited for the website whose content changes frequently according to the user's requirement. For example, Amazon, Flipkart, etc. Now let us see the type of web browsers also. One is the graphical browser, another is the text-only browser. As the name suggests, graphical browser will display the text, images, sound and hyperlinks that can be accessed just by pointing and clicking on them with a mouse. For example, Internet Explorer, Mozilla Firefox, Google Chrome, etc. Text-only browser does not support images and sound. It is purely text-based. The Lynx browser running on the Unix shell is a popular text-only browser. Here, a user interacts within the application by making use of commands and only one task can run at a time. Coming to the web address, that means the URL. A URL, that means the Uniform Resource Locator, is an address you can type in a web browser to access a particular resource. Although most URLs are web addresses, other types of URLs may be used in a web browser for accessing newsgroups, local files on your computer and other resources. The URL is also known as the Universal Resource Identifier. Each resource on the www has a unique address. By typing a URL in your web browser, you can go straight to the page the URL points to. When you see the example on the screen of a URL, you will see it and recall that this is also known as a link. You may call it a link or a web address or the URL, it is all the same. A URL is made up of several parts. Each part is separated from those that follow it by a single forward slash. Every URL begins with the scheme name that defines its purpose, and the remaining part of the URL is the method to access the resource given by the syntax. Let's see the example to make it clear. The first part is the server type, which here is HTTP. The second part, that means www, is our host. Anandniketan Maninagar is the second level domain. The top level domain is the ORG. There are different types of domain like ORG stands for organization, IN for India, .com that means for commercial use, and .edu that means for educational websites. The last part is the path, that means the index. It will show you on which web page you are on that particular website. I would suggest you to take some examples of certain URLs and practice such type of sorting to make this concept more clear. Here, the part 1 of this chapter comes to an end. I hope you have understood all the concepts clearly. Here are some questions which you can try and answer yourself. Please note down the queries if any. Thank you and good luck.